second.
Yes, sir. We got a special guest tonight. One of the OGs. We taking it back for y'all this episode.
For anybody that don't know, Keep Talking Music is being played
South
right now.
Philly's best.
Yep.
Lil Sonny and the old Intruders. Philly International first.
You gotta give us some bars, Mr. Ollie.
Give you some what?
He young, Mr. Ollie. Don't count that. Don't worry about that.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, man? How we feeling today, man? We back for another episode for Off the Rip Podcast. This is Tony Chenault, and I'm here with my guy.
Good times, man.
And we got a really, really special guest today, man. Mr. Ollie Johnson, man,
All
the
is
legend
well.
himself. How you feeling today, good brother?
All is what?
That's good to hear, man. Well, thanks again, man, for coming on the show. We really, appreciative you just giving us your time, and we want to learn about your story, your journey, and everything like that. So we're gonna jump right into it, man. Talk about growing up. You grew up in South Philly. What was that like during that time of growing up in South Philly? What was your
Had a lot
experience?
of fun. Had a lot of great memories in South Philly, man. From church to the Boy Scouts to the whatever. I did it all. I went to Lincoln Day Nursery on 19th and Ellsworth, Smith School on 19th and Wharton, and Barrett Junior High School on 16th and Wharton, then down to South Philly High. So I grew up. Is that right?
Well, you went to Barrett. I played against Barrett Middle School when I was in middle school. They always had a pretty good basketball program. So when did you first get introduced to the game of basketball then?
Probably played under the whistle for the first time when I was 19. So I'm very late. 19.
19?
No.
So you never played high school, intramurals, none of that stuff, summer league basketball?
Everything.
So what was you doing at that time growing up?
I did everything.
You said what?
I was so busy as a child. So I turned around. I was 19 years old. I sang in church. I sang solo. I was in choir. I was in the Boy Scouts. I traveled a lot. Spent my summers down south in Virginia. We on my block, we played everything but basketball. I grew up, and there's a lot of kids on the block in the 50s and 60s, and so hula hoops, tops, dead man, half ball. We went around the corner to the Y. Marion Anderson Center's around the corner. We swam, played a lot of baseball and football, but we didn't play much basketball. Guys in the neighborhood did play basketball, but where I live, we didn't play a lot of basketball. We played we played everything else.
Got it. Go ahead, Drew. You got a question?
So Mr. O, just kind of tapping in what you said. I let the young guy go first because I already know a little something about you. Tell me about the YMCA because a lot of people don't know how important 19th and
18th,
Christian is.
between 18th and 17th,
18th and Christian.
Yeah.
Right, how important that YMCA was. I've been in that gym before. I've been in that YMCA for plenty of times, and I seen the competition in the pickup game. So I can imagine, when y'all was coming up, how
wasn't the original Y that you came in. The original Y was much smaller.
Okay,
but it was really a center for kind of saved a lot of us because there were a lot of men around, a lot of experiences around. And we were, it was more of a family. It was more of, men teaching boys how to be men. And we had a lot of people to look up to, Wilt Chamberlain and, that crew came through. A lot of guys who went on to college and be successful came through. So we had a lot to look up to. Never really dreaming about professional basketball. That wasn't, because we were all baseball players. We wanted to be Willie Mays. We wanted to be Hank Aaron. Yes, sir.
Favorite player, Willie Mays.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yes, I owe you an autobiography book. But hold on one second, Mr. O, you forgot one person.
Clark Gross played on that team with Wilt. Clark Gross was
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean,
Clark Gross is actually
another
Wilt
original,
Chamberlain's
another original from
brother-in-law.
South Philly. Ain't that something?
Clark
Wow, I
Small
never
world.
knew that.
His
Small world.
nephew to me
Well, he
a
32.
community.
Oh, he 32.
33, man.
My bad, my bad. All right. I mean, I mean, it's only 33. I mean, I got shoes his age. To my 33. Got shoes his
33, that
age.
was
To
a
my
long
33.
time ago, brother.
Come on, man. Talk to him. Yeah, what's that? What's that,
Over
Mr.
40 years ago.
Man? But yeah, like I said, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. I try to tell these little kids, man. I'm sorry, no, these young men. I don't want to call them little kids. He a grown man. But no, Claude Gross, Wilt Chamberlain. I never met Wilt Chamberlain. Heard the stories. To me, I kind of I really sit back. I daydream about like how good was Wilt? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, he was playing at a time where like he was
He's been the
by
best player
far the
right now.
best player, but just the fact that
Question.
He been the best player in the NBA right now?
Wilt was not.
thank you.
Wilt was just a
Wow,
great
That's what I
I didn't know
wanted
athlete.
about
to
that.
hear. Yo, no,
Wilt was a
no,
great
no. Listen,
athlete.
let
He
talk.
was, high
Cook, let him
jump,
cook.
track, volleyball. He was just a great athlete. He was more than just basketball. Plus, he's big. Um, Unbelievable. I mean, I think most kids think he's like Paul Bunyan, like a mythological figure, but he was a real person.
Yeah. Speaking of Wilt, I don't want to
Mister, oh,
deviate as
say that
much.
one more time, Mister, because he's 33, just turned 33, and you got this guy Stephen A. Smith. I think he's a great writer. I think he's a great broadcaster. But I hear the Michael Jordan, and Jordan is Jordan, right? And then they give LeBron the nod over Kobe, which I've always feel Kobe is Jordan Forcefield. So how's Kobe, how's LeBron in the conversation with Jordan when Kobe is Jordan Forcefield? But you've seen everybody play. And I think I think the conversation from somebody like yourself speaking to Bill Russell, Nate Archibald, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, and Wilt Chamberlain, those guys that paved the way. Like they don't really get the credit. It's always Jordan and everybody else. They give Kareem a little bit, but it's always Jordan and everything after Jordan. But they don't understand like what you and your colleagues had to do to get there. Like if it wasn't for y'all,
I mean, I
we wouldn't
was
even be here right now.
fortunate to play like the first 25 years of the league when we were just trying to make it work. The league was in financial trouble at some points, and as an association, we had to make certain concessions. Like one year, instead of 12 players, we went down to 11. Just to kind of save the league, we made concessions. Owners made concessions too. Games that you see now, like playoff games, they would tape the league. They weren't prime times. Times have changed. There were no chartered flights. We were fortunate if we could fly, you know. Guys were taking buses, trains to places. I'm not complaining. I mean, there's nothing I can do about my birthday. I'm just telling you how it was. Minimum when I started playing, and people don't believe this.
Yeah.
The minimum salary when I started, and it was less before I started, was $19,500 per year. That was the minimum salary, and we were making.
Yeah. You can't live on that regular.
No, I mean we were
But in
making more
today's
than the average
economy,
men. I guess my mom and dad
8,500.
made about $5,000 or $6,000 a year, but still, 19,500.
So, Mr. Allen, is it safe to say when you didn't
I
play
worked every
basketball, you
summer.
had to have a job? And where did you work when you
I
didn't
worked
play
Parks
in the National
Recreation sometime. I
Basketball
worked at
Association?
Temple camps. I worked in. I had camps in Wilmington, Delaware. I wasn't in the office working, but actually I did work for Ted Turner one summer, behind the camera in Atlanta, doing baseball and yeah,
You
it
got
was
some
great,
film
man.
experience. That's pretty cool.
Wrestling was the most interesting sport I ever did. You get to know those guys and got
Yeah.
a lot of stories about that. But yeah, it was always doing something.
Yeah.
Mr. Ali, why do you think it's important for this generation now to kind of understand the trailblazers like yourself and how y'all kind of pioneered the sport? Why is it so important to carry on tradition? Why do
I
you think it's
once
so
you start
important?
looking at guys like Wilt, guys that they don't talk about like Spencer Haywood, Oscar Robertson, those guys really stuck their necks out to make things happen what are happening now. Wilt was the first to make $100,000. He really paved the way. That doesn't sound like anything now, because guys sitting on the bench making $1 million. They may never see the floor. Yeah, they may never see the floor.
More
Guys
than
in
that.
college are making $1 million a year. So, it's a different time.
Yeah.
Somebody had to, break the ice. And so Wilt came along. They changed a whole lot of rules because of Wilt, the foul line. Because he would just jump from the foul line and just put the ball in the basket. There were a lot of, there was no, like when Kareem was in college, we couldn't dunk. So, a lot of rules would change.
Yeah, you got to put the ball over the rim.
We couldn't dunk in the game, and we couldn't dunk in warm-ups. That's a technical foul. And we had to have something else. That's why we were better shooters, because that was the thing.
Mm-hmm. That was more skill, more fundamentally sound.
And that's why Kareem came up with the hooks. The sky hook was probably the greatest shot ever, because he couldn't dunk those 4 years, so he had to develop something different. But getting back to Oscar was the guy who really paved the way as far as suing the league and leading the way for the union to have some power and some say. And those guys like Bill Russell and those guys really put it on the line. They were like, I wasn't around when they did it, but they were at the All-Star game and they refused to play if something wasn't done. This.
Yeah.
So Mr. Ollie, because I don't want to too much expose or the conversations you had with me over the years, but from Bill Russell to Oscar Robertson to even that magnificent player, Pistol Pete Maravich, who played the game, no 3-pointers, and what he did, like, I don't think y'all get enough credit. And I'm here to say it. Like, I get what Michael Jordan did for the sport. I even get what Stephen Curry did for the sport. But I think about you. Think about Wilt. I think about Claude. I actually know you and Claude. Like, I know y'all, and it's a pleasure. It's been nothing but extraordinary meeting the two of y'all. So it's like I'm a little bit, I would say, spoiled in a sense, but at the same time, I don't think people understand how important what y'all were doing at the time y'all were doing it.
I don't think we did either.
A professional league in this country.
I may have had some inside because I was a player rep. And, I played with Pete. I played with Kareem. I played against Wilt. And I'm very good friends with Spencer Haywood even up to now. So, I know these stories firsthand. And, I look back, it's amazing what we did. And it was just, guys, I heard Oscar say one day, and I thought about it. He said he didn't miss games because he thought somebody was on the bench that was going to take his place. So he played all the games. I played with Tiny Archibald, the year that he led the league in scoring, assists, and minutes. And he played every game. And he averaged like 50-some minutes.
It was 82 games back then, right?
Well, we always had 82 games.
It was 82 games back then still?
We always had 82 games, yeah. And the game has always been 12-minute quarters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we talk about now that we talked about 50 years ago. About 14 quarters to 10 minutes. We talked about the international player coming in. And there were no international players that I know of when I started playing. I don't know. But we had conversations about it back then.
So y'all was already expecting overseas players to be a part of the game.
We played exhibition games in Greece and in China and other places. I know I did.
And what player in today's game think you think has the most impact in the NBA? Any player that comes to mind in today's game has the most impact on the NBA? Not so much the face, because that's what the media does.
Wow.
Present player, yes.
Well, Steph really extended extended the defense. I mean, he's incredible. He's the best shooter I've ever seen. Not the best player, but the best shooter I've ever seen.
Got any shooter you ever seen in your
That
life?
I've ever seen,
You
but
just said it, the best
to
shooter
be
ever.
fair, there was no
I'm
3-point
asking.
shot when I started playing. So there was no need to. There were guys who could shoot. I mean, there were guys who could, put the ball in the basket. I mean, we could all shoot, but there was no need to shoot because that was still 2 points. So the focus wasn't on that. But Steph is unbelievable. I mean, I like SGA. I really do. I mean, incredible. Yeah.
No, he got game, super skilled. But Mr. Ollie, we want to take it back because we don't want to jump over your career per se, meaning that talk a little bit about your time at Temple, how you got to Temple, how you got your scholarship there, especially what you're saying you being a late bloomer at 19. We just want to make sure our audience got a holistic view of who you was as a player in your
I think I was a
basketball
guy
journey.
that kind of came out of nowhere. 'Cause I started at Community College of Philadelphia. And at the time, you could not play as a freshman. You couldn't play varsity as a freshman. So we had an opportunity to play all the freshman teams, the Big Five teams, Temple, Villanova, St. Joe, LaSalle. We played all those teams. And that's how I got my opportunity to go to Temple, as I had a fairly good game against them. And I got recruited by their assistant coach, Jay Norman. And I went to, it was the only 4-year scholarship that I had, I had an offer. I never had any real other offers. And fortunately for me, the big tournament at the time was the NIT. No, gosh, no.
Oh, it wasn't March Madness back then.
The NCAA really wasn't that big. It was the NIT was the big tournament in New York. Oh, yes, sir.
At
And
the Madison
Temple
Square
won it
Garden
in
still?
1969.
Okay.
And fortunately for me, they were all seniors and they graduated. They needed somebody. I don't think anybody would envision me 4 years later. Well, they just needed a body. They just needed somebody 6'5", 6'6" to come and play. I think I was very raw. In fact, when I was at community, I shot with 2 hands like they used to. And it took me a year. Yeah, it took me a year to learn how to shoot with one. And that was a frustrating year because you come out of community, I'm averaging 20. I'm doing well, but guys got so much bigger because everybody. And in order for me to get that shot off, I had to learn how to really shoot a real jump shot. Took me a year. Took me a year of frustration and a lot of nights crying on my pillow. So I couldn't make a shot. The school was patient. The coaches were patient with me. They worked me, and I was coachable. Shit that. And plus,
you went on to have a great career there because you was in the Hall of Fame at Temple, if I'm not mistaken, too, right?
Hall of Fame. Got a flag up in the rafters and all of that. But I had a good career. We were a good team, but we were really a team. I mean, I don't think we beat guys, but we weren't big. We just played as a team and we executed. Coach Litwack, who was my coach, is the architect of the matchup zone that John Cheney came in. First, we played any
so
kind
y'all played the matchup 2-3 or 3-2?
We played a matchup, so we might do we might double team a guy the whole game. We might do a diamond and 2. We because we were small.
Yeah, dang, I was doing diamond.
We were small.
Yeah, that's what you do when you got 2 dominant guards or something. You go a diamond and 2, put 3 people in the paint.
We have discouraged a lot of high scores.
They were. What would you say your biggest game at Temple is, or your most?
He always said he didn't really put me in the thing because I was 18 to 10 every night. I averaged a double-double
18 to 10. That's what you average.
So I got better as it went on. But I probably my first year I probably averaged more rebounds than I did points. Shit. I don't know. I didn't look at it. But I know somebody told me this much later. Because, when you're going in, you don't really think about that stuff. You're just playing. And I was really just learning. I got a little better every year. So I think in my senior year, I was probably like 17 or 18 and 11, something like that. It got better. Well, it was, I credit my coaches with a lot of, and that South Philly thing.
Yeah.
My coach Norman, who recruited me, I didn't think he liked me, coached me so hard. And he was on me all the time. Yeah, he saw
I
what
mean,
I
he's
didn't
seen the
see.
potential in you, though, right?
And but what he told me
Yeah.
later on, because we were, we remained close until his passing. He said, "Man, I could go at you, but you asked like you didn't even care." Like, he said, if I coached anybody else that hard, I probably wouldn't get nothing out of them. Well, I mean, I could have a great game, but this guy would come in the locker room and cuss me out. Like, Johnson, what are you doing? But, I guess I needed it.
So, Mr. Ollie, I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions because your basketball expertise and IQ is off the charts. So I'm just gonna give you a couple players from today's in the last 30 years and NBA, and you kind of compare the players that you came up with, whether they played the NBA or not, and just give me who you think compared next to them. So the first person I'm gonna say is LeBron James, who's somebody from even, and you know what? Let me not even say your era. Anybody that came after you that you could compare him
I
to.
mean, LeBron is so big. He's kind of unique. I don't compare him to anybody because he's shot.
What about Steph Curry?
Nobody had to shoot like that. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a 3-point shot.
Okay.
But Pete Maravich
Oh, Pete
wasn't
was
a shooter
tough,
like
man.
that. Pete Maravich.
Pete probably could have. I played with Pete. Pete probably could have. Pete had nice size, 6'6", 6'7". People didn't realize that. Could score 40 any night. I mean, it just walked by. So I'm gonna give you 40 tonight. It was just Pete Maravich, Earl Monroe, and George Gervin were 3 players that I would play to watch. No, ask him.
Now, question. Let's stick on George.
Yeah.
You said George Gervin.
Iceman.
Did he have did him and KD have a similar game, like similar style of play, like tall, lanky, could score threes, mid range?
Sort of. George was just so graceful, man.
What's the
George
difference?
was just, George throw the finger roll from the foul line, left hook, right hook, jump shot. We'd be sweating. He just came out, I mean, just an unbelievable player, unbelievable. Earl was the same way. Earl was just, they were just unique. There was never another Earl Monroe. I mean, guys ruin their careers trying to be like that.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Black Jesus was his nickname, right?
Well, where you from?
Earl Monroe's nickname was Black Jesus, right?
He's the Pearl, Black Jesus.
Yeah.
Huh?
You keep showing his age, Mr. O. Hey, listen.
They called. That's what I thought they called him.
I know you see the movie. He Got Game, but it's a little deep.
No, even before that, like Littell,
they would, he walk in
Jesus, like some,
because Baker League was the big summer league here. On my years, and everybody played, and Earl would just walk in at halftime and score 44, man. And we weren't playing defense on him. He just was, it was like the tighter you played him, you might as well just let him shoot. He probably would. Earl's tough.
I feel like it, Mr. O. I feel like sometimes some young people won't get the chance to watch this podcast, this interview. Explain to them when you said, because I heard it twice already in this conversation, the player finger roll from the foul line.
Yeah. I don't know how he did it.
So
but
they
still had the
finger
same
roll from
spin
the foul line
as my jump shot, basically. And we just flicked it up. Yeah.
They finger roll.
He was the only one I seen do it. I seen he and I seen
Julius Herbert used to do that though, right? Too, Mr. Ollie?
No, Doc was just
Dr. J. When he a finger roll.
No, he didn't really finger roll like that. I mean, Wilt did a little bit, but he was right at the basket. I've seen Pete Maravich do it. It's just, and if like a big guy, because we had a lot of big athletic centers. And I mean, not like now where you don't have too many. But they protected the paint. They took it personal when a guy came down the middle. Wasn't a whole lot of dunking going on. You might get on it, then you
Yeah.
find yourself on the
Yeah.
bench. But anyway, that's another story. But just unbelievable
Mm-hmm.
shot makers. I think Ice and Earl were probably the best
Mm-hmm.
two
Mm-hmm.
that I can remember.
Got it. One last basketball question before
Yes,
we
sir.
transition to some of the film stuff. You played
Yes.
for the Sixers in 1982. What was that feeling like coming back home, being able to play for the hometown team with Dr. J, Andrew Toney,
Well, Mosley
Moses
wasn't there
Malone, all
yet
those
when I
guys?
played. This is Dad Dawkins,
It was Darryl Dawkins. I'm sorry, Darryl
Ollie
Dawkins, right?
Johnson. It was a great
Yeah.
team. It was it's fun when you go to the stadium, know you're going to win. As I played for other teams where you didn't have a shot at winning. It was refreshing to come somewhere where you know you're going to be competitive and have an opportunity to win every night, and to really see greatness. I mean, Doc, we all had good games, but Doc was great every night. Andrew Toney had not he hurt his foot, would probably be a household name. One just unbelievable player, strong, could do anything, could post you up or take you out to the 3-point line if he needed to. And Bobby Jones was the best defender I've seen. And then we had Mo Cheeks, don't forget that, who was he was the point guard, consummate.
Yeah, Mo Cheeks was the guy, the captain.
Great team.
How far y'all won the
My year
playoffs that year?
We lost
in
to
82?
LA that year. That was the year.
In the championship?
Yeah, we won the championship.
In 82?
Yeah, that was the year
y'all
that
played LA
Magic
in
threw
82.
the
Okay.
skyhook and had 40-something.
I thought that was 80, right? I thought that was 80 when they beat you guys when he was a rookie, right? So they beat the Sixers twice
I'm getting my years
in the
mixed.
finals?
You know what? That was 80. That was my
Yeah, because
first
that
year.
was
We
80.
lost to Boston. We lost to Boston that
82,
last
y'all
year.
had to probably lost to the
Yeah, we lost to
Celtics.
Boston that last.
Because I think Celtics,
Yeah, they
I
beat
think the
Houston.
Celtics won that
They
year, if
beat
I'm not
Houston.
mistaken. 82.
And that was a game that was tape
Yeah.
delayed.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember that. That was tape delayed. That was tape delayed.
Okay.
But I retired that. Celtics on the bench, Boston beat us.
So, Mr. Ollie, just this little last part to that add on, because we just became the NFL Super Bowl champions once again, and it's been a while since the Sixers have won NBA Finals. Being from Philly, playing for Philly, how's the energy when they actually won
crazy.
that NBA championship that year when Mo Cheeks?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I wasn't. I had just retired the year before, and people were just going up and down Broad Street. It was just unbelievable. Yes, sir.
So Broad Street
Yes,
was crazy back then.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we ain't see that part. We ain't see the celebration and that
Yeah, I
late
wasn't
part
part
of
of the
spring.
83.
It don't look good this year.
We got
right,
to see
for
the Eagles.
Sixers.
We seen the Phillies. Yeah. But we ain't seen that part with the Sixers
I
playing
lived a
good
long
at
time.
high
You
level.
might, when you get my age, you might see it again.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Hopefully, that's one of my lifetime goals. Other than my career goals, I got to see the Sixers win one
it's
NBA
hard when
Finals
your
in my
main
lifetime.
guys are like not on the floor. Yeah.
Injury
I think they're
prone.
better
Yeah.
when they sat them down because at least guys know they're going to play, and it's when you have anybody in your 8-man and 9-man rotation out for any period of time, that just hurts the flow. So when you know he's not going to be there, next man up, I'm mentally ready to play, and I know instead of playing 10 minutes, I'm gonna be playing 20. So I'm ready for that. So I think it's good that they sat him down. I think it was a good move, and hopefully he'll get himself together and be able to play some games because he's an outstanding player.
No, for sure. I agree. I definitely agree. But let's transition now. So now we're going to transition to some movie questions for you. So our first question, what makes a great film to you, Mr. Ollie?
That I can't figure out the ending in 5 or 10 minutes. That I cannot figure out the ending
Say that one more
in 5
time?
or 10 minutes.
So
Can't
if
enjoy
you
it.
figure
Yeah,
out the ending in 5, 10 minutes is not a good movie?
Yes.
So you hate watching movies that's predictable.
That's, you know.
That being said, Mr. O, what is some of your favorite? Wow, no specific
You
genre,
know, I
but
grew up watching westerns, so Silverado, The Magnificent Seven, the newest one with Denzel. Love.
Hold on.
Oh, that's
You,
what's
did
always
you
on
just say you grew up
TV.
watching westerns?
Yeah, I mean,
For real?
it was westerns
Wow, that's
and
impressive,
soap
man. I thought you were gonna
operas.
say some Blaxploitation movie. You said
Westerns and soap
western.
operas. I didn't watch soap operas, but watch. I was the only child, so that was my company. You know, the Lone Ranger and all of those guys.
Yeah, makes sense. So if you had to compare an athlete from your era to your favorite movie character, who would it be and why?
An athlete to my favorite. My favorite movie. Well, I got top five. The
Movie
Godfather is
character.
my favorite movie. So I would put Maurice Lucas as Luca Brasi. Luca was the enforcer. You know, when the Don needed some business
Mm-hmm.
handling, he's go get Luca. Um, and yeah, Luke was the enforcer. He handled if anybody was bothering
Mm-hmm.
Bill Walton or whatever, you know, Luke would handle that. So yeah, how's that?
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. What are your thoughts on some of the popular the 1970s TV shows like Good Times, What's Happening, Sanford and Son, Starsky and Hutch, where they're like, where they're vital shows during your well, in the 70s you was kind of older, during like, when you was growing up. Did you and your family
There
watch
weren't a
those type of
lot
black TV
on. I
shows?
mean, I was older when they started coming on. I was in college or after college. Sanford
Mm-hmm.
and Son and those things came. They came on in the 80s, right? The late
No, I
70s.
think they started in the
Good
70s.
Times. Yeah, because
The
Good
late
Times. They
70s, mid to
started in the
late 70s.
70s. I can relate to them because their growing up is similar to mine. Chicago, Philly, just in a different spot. Because I spent a lot of time in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago and um
Mm-hmm.
just felt like home. So I probably had an
Mm-hmm.
uncle just like
Mm-hmm.
Fred Sanford. Uh, you know, I can relate to them, and they were funny, and it was good to see folks that looked like me on TV.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
Wasn't a
Representation
lot.
of you, right?
Wasn't.
Why you think it was that at that time? Was it a lot of people from our communities were they pursuing acting and pursuing filmmaking, or that just it
I
wasn't a
think it had a
realistic
lot to do with
goal being a black kid from
like
the inner
Norman
city?
Lear, the guys who just kind of opened it up.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody at the top has to open it up. It had nothing to do with the community. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they had to open it up, and they found an
Mm-hmm.
audience. They found an audience through some like black exploitation movies, Shaft, and a lot of those movies back then, Superfly, and the
Superfly, the
music,
Mac.
and Superfly music, and what Isaac Hayes did with Shaft. That's historic,
Chef. Yeah. When I
as he
that
should have. It was a
best
great
original
album,
song.
Black Moses. Every
Yeah.
time he came in town,
Yeah.
I saw Black. I saw. I
You
saw.
said
I
what?
saw. Isaac Hayes every time he came to Philly. No, I just went
okay,
to
So you had a
his
relationship with
concert.
Isaac Hayes?
No, I didn't know him. I know the
Oh, it
Philly
was a concert. I
International
thought you was
guys,
actually
but I
cool
didn't
now.
know
Okay.
him. I really enjoyed. Well, we really enjoyed because I was in college when he would come in, and I scrape my
Yeah.
pennies together and go down to the Spectrum at the time.
So he performed at the Spectrum. Back then, wasn't no artist performing at that place on
Uptown,
Word in Susquehanna. What was that theater
Uptown wasn't
called
big
back in the
enough
day?
for I.
it was a
Uptown
movie
No,
Theater.
theater. That was a
Uptown
movie
wasn't big.
theater.
No,
It
he had
wasn't?
an orchestra
How
behind
many
him. He
people
had the
it
Barcades, his
seated?
group, and then he would bring in an orchestra.
Oh, so yeah.
So Barry White, Isaac
Gotcha.
Hayes, they had orchestras behind them. There were a lot of great. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I gotta ask you two questions here. The first question is, were you a fan of black exploitation films? And if so, How do you think they portrayed black people at the time?
Again, it was good to see black folk get an opportunity to act. It just opened the door, and we had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Shaft. There's a lot of memorable. It- I remember going into a store one day in Detroit because the Superfly had just came out, and guys were, had on the maxi coats and the big hats and that and the high heels. So it was cool. It was cool. It was all right. But the music, the music was just great. I mean,
Yeah,
well, yeah, I mean, the
let's
music
fly.
from even Uptown, let me see,
So
across 110th Street. Yeah,
That's Bobby
yeah,
Womack.
the
Across
music is really what
110th
sold it.
Street.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah. Let me ask you a question though before you go to the next question, Drew. You brought up a great point. Was Blaxploitation's movies respected
they were
by
making
the
money.
film
They found
industry at
they
that time?
found
No, they're
they
like,
found a audience that they didn't know was there.
because it was a stigma that black people didn't support wouldn't go out to the movie theaters. Correct, if I'm not mistaken. So they kind of
Yeah,
excluded
and
that
then,
myth,
then
right? Those Blaxploitation movies.
Buck and the Preacher had Sidney Poitier and Ruby D.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was a great movie. I mean, it wasn't just that was a western. So I mean, it wasn't just
Mm.
pimps in the neighborhood. I mean, there were other venues, and Shaft was good because he was he was a hero, cop. He was a hero.
He was a cop. Yeah. But Shaft is
All the
not really
time.
considered a Blaxploitation movie. You
All
know
the
that,
time.
right? It was? No, but
No,
because
no,
I
no,
thought
no. I
they
mean,
made
it
a
was more than
franchise out
one.
of that though.
It was more than one person who made. No, it was only
Who
one.
played
It
Shaft
was
at
only
that
one
time?
Shaft.
Gotcha.
It was only one Shaft because he was Shaft in Africa. Shaft was all over the place. There's only one Shaft,
Yeah.
but it was during that time. It was during that time.
And it's funny too. You said that athletes started getting into movies, especially with the Blaxploitations. You had Fred Williamson, former NFL player, right? Was one of the pioneers of being a professional athlete and got into the movie business, movie industry, do Blaxploitation films. Was that like inspiring to you as a fellow professional athlete and
I
like your
never thought
other
about going into
colleagues?
acting, but getting to know guys who Mike Warren played for UCLA. He was he played in
Mm-hmm.
he had a reoccurring TV show. I'll think of it in a second. He went into acting, and a lot of guys got bits, and even Kareem got a bit piece in Airport.
What movie?
Yeah,
Kareem was in the movie with
yeah,
Bruce Lee,
one of
where if I'm not
those.
mistaken, right? Bruce Lee?
last
Yeah.
year,
Last Dragon. And then
Jamal
you had Cornbread Earl Me, Jamal Wilkes starred in
Andre
that movie.
McCarter from Philly was in that. Yeah, he was in that. Yeah, we talked
But he
about that.
was. I remember Andre
Yeah,
McCarthy. He
yeah,
from
yeah,
South Philly
yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah. So
Your
it
neighborhood.
was an opportunity, for guys. No, just opening the door. Hattie McDaniels that played many, many years ago. I mean, this is before my time. It's just
Mm-hmm.
seeing somebody on the screen was good. Was
Mm-hmm.
Julia was the first TV
Mm-hmm.
movie that TV show. Um, I'll think of her name in a minute. She was a nurse and she was raising a son, and these are things these were new
Mm-hmm.
things. We didn't see a lot of people of color on TV, not in a positive light.
oops. So, Miss Al, did you ever
I
catch a
did the
show at the
Uptown though.
Apollo?
You saw
You
Michael
did Uptown?
Jackson.
Okay. Okay.
Mike, when he was
So
first
Michael Jackson,
presented
okay.
by Diana Ross, we thought he was a midget. No, he ain't that tall.
Mike was like
Well,
6'2",
he
right?
wasn't. He was just a kid. He was just 11,
You're
12
not
years
that tall?
old. We saw him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's unbelievable. So
Mm.
every
You're like a walking
just lived a
encyclopedia,
long
Mr.
time.
Ollie.
That's all. Yeah, the Uptown was great, man. The thing about the Uptown, and this is how prices have changed. We could see the Motown Review, and then when they were done, they show a cartoon and a movie for 99 cents. I mean, times.
So you got a concert and a movie screening? Like,
I mean, times have changed. 16-ounce soda was 10 cents. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a different world.
yeah, yeah.
And so we had these conversations. So you already know I'm a little bit partial to when I hear you speak, I'm just like, not that I even feel like I could say I tell people I told you so, but just hearing, from you, from my parents, and just from all the elders that I have the utmost respect for is like, I can't even imagine what I would have did growing up in the time y'all grew up in, you know, things y'all had to deal with. Like, what I mean, just as a professional, but really just as a human being, like the things y'all had to deal with and y'all worked through all that stuff. Like, the one thing I would say, I never heard you complain, Miss
I've
Allen,
been blessed,
from the
man.
Sister Teresa. I just never heard you complain.
Actually,
I never heard you.
my dad was at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. I see my mom take 3 buses to get to work and get home. So what have I got to complain about? I'm doing great. I mean, and work is the thing.
Mhm.
That's what we knew was work, and respect for our neighborhood and for our elders. I mean, that's what we knew. I mean, we might fight each other, but you know, we respect the parents. And, we didn't talk back at school,
And,
all that
and-
kind
and
of
you
stuff.
and you come
Yeah.
up with some and you
Serious
come up with
people.
some
We
serious
know that.
people in the city of Philadelphia. I know, some serious guys. I
Serious
mean,
people.
just leave it
Yes.
like that. But like I said, yeah, just to know like you come up from that time in which you've been able to become as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather, uncle or son, different things like that, mentor for me, and just for so many more people that you paved the way for. I think, like I said, it was a perfect timing to bring you on here as our first interviewee to let the world know who you are and what you contribute to the NBA, what you contribute to Philadelphia, what you contribute to your community,
I
to
think
your
you
family, and
talk about
everything.
the YMCA. I think that was the proving ground for me for because the focus was always to give back and to set an example for the younger guys and to be there for them. Because I never had to worry about somebody to talk to or somebody to ask a question. I know a lot of you guys didn't think I was ever young, but I was. I mean, we go through the same thing, and we kind of grow up in similar
Definitely.
situations. I mean, and it could be tough. Parenting was very important to me because as great as my parents are, I had to go outside. You didn't stay in the house all the time. I had to go around the corner. I wasn't always home. So the influences were always there. As you know, I grew up with some guys that did some amazing, incredible, illegal things. No, did I put
I
that
like
right?
that he put the last part of the end.
I mean, we're best friends. I mean, we're
Yeah, we're
still
gonna leave it
friends.
like
Like
that.
it's
We
just,
let the
I
audience,
just proud to go one way and they went somewhere
yeah, let the
else.
audience think about that right there.
But yeah, the street is the street,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah.
just you have a lot of decisions to make. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the big cars and the ladies and all that stuff too. When I was young, there was more to it than that.
Mhm. If there's any advice you could give to a young person, mid-20s, about life, about being the right person, what would that advice be, Mr. Ollie?
I think what we want it now, and that's destructive. I think we have to be patient, put the work in, and I tell my younger kids like when you're playing sports, be coachable. Just if you're coachable and you listen, you can go a long way. I don't think that I was the most talented or ran the fastest but I was always in shape and I always wanted to improve myself. And as a player, I always watched other guys who were doing well and listened to them and had a lot of talks with guys about how you do this and how you do that. And the great thing about great players, they'll tell you because most people ain't gonna do it. I asked Tiny Archibald one day, like, how do you run like that? He said, I'll just run 5 miles a day all summer. So I started doing that. So I never got tired. You know, it's most of what guys do is not talent based. It's, are you putting in the effort and the work? And are you listening? And are you listening positively? And you're not always crying. You know, I was blessed as a player never to really get hurt. And that had a lot to do with what I did in the off season. So if you put in the work and you're prepared for whatever it is, if you prepare for a test, you got a good chance of passing that test. You can't put that book under your pillow and osmosis. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. You know, I've read a lot of books, and I tell my kids that's why I know a little bit more than they do, because I've read a lot more books than they did, and I've lived a lot longer than they had. So it's not that I'm the smartest, but I am well read, and I have paid attention. Life is not that difficult. It's not. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's a fight all the time, but it's pretty basic. Pretty basic.
Mr.
Major
Ollie,
Jew, man.
hey, listen, I
Thank
get
you.
that. I get that once a week, Tony. By the way, I feel
So I
you.
appreciate it.
Get that once a week.
That's
So
you
just keep
speaking
that
to
in mind.
the choir for me. Thank you. I
Yeah.
needed advice myself.
Yeah. So that's why I'm able to give you the information, Tony. So, Mr. Ollie, we want you to join along with our quick segue where we kind of go through some few hot topics, more, I don't want to say current events, but current events, right? This is what we call rapid fire questions. Some things you might not know, some things you probably do know. But nonetheless, we want to get your take on it right now. So the first thing is, did you get the chance to watch the unbelievable what's that
St. Davis versus
no.
some
The rapid fire question, first question was Javante Lamont Roach fight.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. You asked the question.
No,
Yeah.
okay. I was going into the weight class. I know they lightweight, 135. Was that lightweight?
Yeah, that's lightweight, 135.
Lightweight. So
I haven't
any
watched, I haven't
comments, any
watched the
thoughts
fight
about
in a
the
long
fight?
time.
Did you check it out?
And I used to watch them all the time and go
Okay.
to fights. But I haven't watched them in a long time. But I know with the lighter weights, you get a whole lot of swings. You know, the big guys may hit you once or twice around, but the little guys, rapid fire.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
They can swing, they can throw more punches. The next question is, how do you feel about Luka and LeBron?
Man, I think if you add a decent center in there, they got a real good shot. I mean, it's just two great players. And LeBron understands that he can move and Luka can't, but Luka can set you up and pass. So LeBron's smart enough to make them a winner. Because Luka is he's different, man. He's slow. He ain't fast. He just make buckets, and he's a great passer. You know, some guys are just unique in how they play and how they approach the game. He's different.
Hey, listen, Michelle, any expertise from you is fine. Do you know anything about the unrivaled league?
I heard about it.
Anything
I don't know a lot
that?
about
Do you know anything about that? I'm gonna let Tony kind of break that down because I'm still.
So rivalry is like it's like a female basketball
Okay.
I think it's like a one-on-one league, and like these women are getting paid top dollar for it. So, you know, they're trying to find other ways to keep these women in the States opposed to them going to overseas for the all season or the WNBA season. So they created the Unrivaled League as a way to help them out from a monetization perspective and keep them in the States closer to their family. So you got like Angel Reese playing in it. Who else playing in it? Skylar Diggins. Some of the other like WNBA players, and they actually been getting it in. They down in Miami right now, having the lead.
Okay, because I seen it. I just
yeah,
the name
might
just escaped me.
Yeah, it might be 3 or 4.
I am a women's basketball fan. I watch the WNBA all season. And I can't say I watch a lot of NBA games, but I do watch the WNBA. I was very disappointed. Yeah.
It's a 3-on-3 league. You right in the stuff. It's definitely a 3-on-3
I thought Minnesota got cheated out of the championship. That's my. But yeah, I've watched them play, And I like it. I mean, I've been to some,
Yeah.
what's that league? Ice T, summer. Yeah. I
Oh,
had one of
you
my
talking about
former
Big
students
Three with
owns
Ice
Big
one of the
three.
Cube.
teams, so I've been to some of
Yeah.
their games, and they play hard, man. They play hard.
So speaking of playing hard, let's throw in this other little. I'm throwing a question more of an improv. What is the direction that you think that would be best suited for the NBA All Star Weekend, the NBA All Star Game? Because I'm, we've been talking about this on air, off the air. I'm a little bit lost for words. I'm opinionated when it comes to this. And someone that played actually in the NBA, what
Well,
is your thoughts
now
about the
I
NBA
think
All
the
Star
best,
Game?
one of the best ideas I've heard is to make it an international challenge, like hockey did. Yeah,
Sound right?
yeah. I wasn't mad at what they
Sound
did
right?
this year,
See,
but I
there you
think
go.
to really make it an ego, because really, there's no reason to play for money. Because it's an ego thing now. So that's why they play so hard. Yeah, that's why they
Okay.
play so hard in the Olympics.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think that's the better idea right now. Um, the good thing about Adam Silver is that he'll try stuff and they'll tweak it. They'll tweak it. I mean, people loved it last year when Curry shot against the lady from what was her name? She played for New York. Um, the 3-on-3 challenge between the WNBA and the NBA, and they'll keep they'll keep
Very.
tweaking it. But the best idea I've heard is the international challenge, because it's about ego now. It's about
Sabrina,
and
the
that's
late
no
girl Sabrina you
yeah
talking
yeah
about.
yeah
You
yeah
got the
yeah
baseball
yeah.
sneakers.
People love that, but they didn't do it this year.
Yeah, I
Caitlin
know.
Clark and somebody else just withdrew.
Yeah.
So did
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Okay, so now we're on our last segment of the day, Mr. Ollie. So we usually do something called the film of the week or the show of the week. So the show of the week, I don't know if you've seen this. It's called 0 Day, starring Robert De Niro. It's a political thriller series. Robert De Niro character, George Millen, is a former U.S. president. It follows Mullen as he heads a commission investigating a catastrophic cyber attack that disrupts the nation's infrastructure, leading to chaos and fatalities. The series explores themes of political maneuvering, civil liberties, and misinformation reflecting real world concerns.
yes, I've
Um,
seen clips of it. I've never seen it, but I've seen clips of
Yeah, so the series, I watched the whole thing. It felt too real, especially the climate we living at, with planes crashing. With these different cyber attacks that some of these tech gurus can do, um, they could kind of be disruptive in everyday life. Whether the financial institutions like banks closing down, things like that, they could put out certain viruses that could get people sick. So, do you think something like this is not far-fetched? Like creating a show like this with real themes, a lot of times Hollywood kind of dictate what happens in the world in a sense. They usually 5 to 10 years ahead of the world in terms of like problems or society problems that might occur. Do you think creating a show like this is like
If you'd
foreshadowing
have asked
something
me that
bigger?
question 2 years ago, I would have said no. But what's going on right now, I don't think it's too far off. I mean, it's just how comfortable are you knowing that people are looking at your social security number? Or how comfortable are you?
Not comfortable at all.
How
That's my
comfortable are
lifeline.
you with your friends just being fired just because? Yeah, I think that it's timely. And when I saw it, I'm like, wow, it's possible.
And the thing that was funny about it watching the show, it seemed like it was mirroring Joe Biden and Kamala Harris' relationship. As Kamala Harris before Trump got elected, she was predicted to kind of win this election. So like with the black woman being the president, and now Biden was kind of sick. It was questioned about his health. So it was kind of like a split mirror image of that dynamic in the show, which was pretty interesting to me, that they kind of like, they thought she was going to win. So that's why they made a black president and had an Asian president that was sick, but now got to come back to office to lead a cyber attack
I haven't
investigation.
seen it, but I've seen clips. Um, and when I saw it,
Mhm.
a couple days ago. I said that's something I'd like, um, because you know, usually life is a lot more serious than what they put on the screen, and
Mhm.
seeing in the political climate now, um, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it looks like a great series.
Yeah.
Something I would like to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. And Robert De Niro did a great job of playing his character. So is Angela Bassett. There's a lot of plot twists in there that you're gonna be surprised, like just expose corruption in the government, corruption and deceit within your family, and betrayal. So
The
it's
star
definitely a great
power in
show
that
worth
was
watching.
wonderful. I mean, I couldn't believe they put all of those De Niro and Bassett and so many others together for a limited series.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a great job. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get it. Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Looks like you're
No, you
doing.
gotta definitely check it out.
The whole since we speaking on kind of wrapping up as we coming to the end part, this show is every bit of it's a it's like it's an analogy of from sports to film. So speaking on a TV show that Tony just kind of broke down, and you yourself have watched some trailers of, is it any TV show or any movie from your time that kind of resonates with that TV show
Well,
now?
there's a lot of, a lot of remakes, like SWAT's a remake. There's a lot of remakes. Like I said, The Magnificent Seven's a remake. And I love Westerns. There's a lot of remakes. And, they're bringing back a lot of 80s TV shows, streaming, remakes. So, I mean, there's nothing really new. I think that there's always been corruption in government. Uh, Nixon was a bad man, and Agnew, that was not the best administration we had. The only difference is there was no internet then. There was no internet. There was no social media.
Social media,
You know,
right?
yeah, that makes a big difference
Those
because now I
components.
can say something negative and you don't even know who I am,
I can
and
see.
I can say something untrue,
Yeah,
and in 2 seconds, it's 50 million people have watched it, and it's a lot. Well, the difference
Yeah.
now and back then is social media. Is social media. But I enjoy. I used to go to the movies all the time, but since COVID, I haven't been too much. Well, actually, my son was living here, and I was here. They called us the red carpet people because we see it when it came in. But he's not here anymore, so he has moved on to bigger and brighter things. So my habits have changed. But I enjoy movies, and I do watch. And thank you for this tip about the Robert De Niro, because one of my favorite actors. Definitely going to get that. And it looks
Mm-hmm.
very serious. It looks raw.
Oh, it's serious. Even the first episode, how it come
Right,
on, it grabs your
right.
attention right away.
Have you ever watched 24?
No, I
It's a
never seen
TV
24.
show,
What's that about?
TV show,
and the whole
the
thing
TV show.
takes place in 24
Fox.
hours. Well, try to get that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Mhm.
I
that's
ain't never
amazing.
watched it, but I know.
We used to text back. It was about 10 of us who text back and forth during the show, and like, during the commercial, we would text like, "What is he gonna do next?" But that was a good one. That was one of my favorite TV series. Tickets for two or three series.
And another good show for you to watch too, Mr. Ali, is Paradise on Hulu with Sterling K. Brown. It's kind of similar to
Okay.
Zero Day, but it's a little more
Okay.
futuristic. You should check that out too.
When
Yeah.
we retire, we're in a limited budget. I can't be streaming all this stuff, man. So,
Man, so Mr. Ollie, man, with no further ado, just want to say thank you so much
Yep. Thank you.
for giving us,
Appreciate
the
it.
undivided attention, me being our first guest, which will always be to me the most, that you was the first guest that that allowed us to interview you in this hour time, hour time, to kind of get an understanding of your journey and what got you to the point you at now. So, like I said,
Anytime,
man,
Drew.
thank you so
I didn't
much.
tell 10th of the
You
story,
already
brother.
know.
Anytime. Yes, sir.
Yeah, like I said, this was just something I wanted the whole world, anybody that's going to listen now and later on, to understand really how important you are to the city of Philadelphia, and how important you are to us. Like, very much so. You tell the story of other people that we never, ever will get the chance to meet for whatever reason. And like I said, this was just a great day for me, great day for my co-host. And like I said, even for you, Mr. Ollie, thank you again for coming along. Hey, I want to give a shout out because this was the Oscar weekend to Zoe Sedano and that guy from West Philly that won an Oscar. That was brilliant stuff that y'all did there.
Columbus Domingo, he went to
Wow.
Overbrook.
There you go, from West Philly. So again, shout out to those two actors. They did a great thing, Mr. Ollie. We got some stuff coming up. We might need a little guest appearance from you. So everybody stay tuned. Like I said, from production to weekly podcast, this is Off the Rip Podcast. Glad to join us. Stay tuned. Next week we'll be back Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific Time. Pay attention, everybody. Follow the Instagram page. All right.
Good night.
We out of here.
We out here.